Namaste. What color are you? Was that a weird question? Perhaps I asked it inappropriately. So what color are you? Well, first we should probably establish what you are. You are not the product of a plan. You are the latest outcome of a process that kept what worked and quietly erased everything that did not. Suspend judgment for just one moment. Earth. Pretty, right? Carl Sagan, pale blue dot. This is home. It is the only home you and I have ever known. It is the only home any human has ever known. Earth, as a setting, is neither kind nor cruel, just nor unjust. It is neutral, emotionless. And whether something on this planet is positive or negative depends entirely on the perspective that you attribute to it. You are me, and I am you, separated by distance, language, and time, but bound by the same team biology. We are of the genus Homo, member of the species Sapiens. As of this recording, there are 8.3 billion of these yous and me's right now, firmly planted on this lovely wet rock, rotating around our life-giving sun. Let us not forget the 10 incredibly talented souls orbiting above us, 7 aboard the International Space Station, and 3 inside China's Tiangong Space Station. 8.3 billion. Does that number even make sense? All those faces, all those mouths, all instinctively driven to acquire calories in order to survive and keep the lights on. Wait. What happens when those lights do go out? I don't know. No one does. Not me. Not those other guys in those other fancy robes. Maybe what happens when we cease to exist is the exact same thing that happened before we came into existence. Do you remember what that was like? Do you even care? Anyways, this desire to survive isn't unique to just us humans. Every sentient and non-sentient form of life shares it. Every single organism. Plants, animals, bacteria. Life wants to continue no matter the form. Let's zoom in. If you were to look at life through a biologist's lens, you'd notice something uncomfortable. Homo sapiens isn't the goal of evolution, because evolution doesn't have goals. We're a branch, not the trunk, one twig on a vast, tangled tree of life that's been growing, mutating, and recombining for billions of years. All right, let's figure out what you are in under a minute. Domain, eukarya. You've got cells with nuclei, which means you're not basic. Kingdom, animalia. Multicellular, mobile, heterotrophic. We eat other things for energy. Nature's way of saying eat or be eaten. Phylum, chordata. You've got a backbone, hopefully. Class, mammalia. Warm-blooded, hair or fur, at least at some point. And we take parenting very seriously. Because unlike most animals, we don't just drop the kids off and hope for the best. Order, primates. Big brains, forward-facing eyes, hands that can grab things, like tools or your phone. Family, hominidae, the great apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans, and us. Genus, Homo. Now it gets interesting. Walking upright, making tools, asking questions like, what am I doing with my life? Species, sapiens. Homo sapiens means wise man, Bold claim, considering we just graded our own homework. We share ancestry with chimps, gorillas, and orangutans. It's actually pronounced orangutan, which means person of the forest in Bahasa Indonesia. Orangutan in American. But we also share ancestry with mice, jellyfish, and fungi if you zoom far back enough. What separates us from our cousins isn't divine favor or cosmic accident. It's time, adaptation, and a long series of environmental curveballs that forced us to evolve differently. Evolution is ruthless, but fair. It doesn't care about intelligence or morality, only survival and reproductive success. When our particular species appeared on our Earth's timeline, roughly 300,000 years ago, we were not the first humans out here. There were many roaming this wet rock before us. Before we get to us, I'd like you to meet the rest of the league. Every player brings something different to the field. Different builds, different minds, different strategies. Let's talk skill set. This is where the story really starts. Meet Australopithecus afarensis, Lucy's people. About 3.2 million years old and already walking upright. Not like us, but clearly on 2 feet. Long arms, curved fingers, still climbing, but hips and knees starting to commit to the ground. Because standing up frees the hands, and free hands change the game. Skill set. Early bipedalism with arboreal carryover. Afarensis took the first steps toward everything that followed. A little more refined. Australopithecus africanus. Shorter face, smaller teeth. A brain slightly larger than Afarensis, still modest, but trending upward. More time on the ground, less time in the trees. Not human yet, but definitely headed in that direction. Think of this as version 2.0. Still buggy, but improving. Skill set. Improved bipedal efficiency and early cranial development. Africanus bridged the gap between walking and becoming. Australopithecus sediba. Now this one is a remix. Australopithecine body with some homo-like features. Hands capable of precision grip, hips and legs hinting at more efficient walking. And this is where evolution experiments, mixing traits, testing outcomes. No roadmap, no guarantees, just vibes and natural selection. Skill set. Transitional anatomy with emerging dexterity. Sediba is proof that evolution tries more than one path at a time. And now, the first real tool user steps up to the plate. Homo habilis. Name literally means handyman, and for good reason. Stone tools, cutting, shaping, not just surviving, but modifying the world. Skill set, tool creation, the beginning of technology. Now we get movement. Homo erectus. There we go. Beards are great. They're like makeup for men. Long legs, narrow hips, built for endurance walking, and possibly persistence hunting. They leave Africa, spread across Asia, for over 1 million years, and they bring something powerful with them. Fire. Cooking food, staying warm, extending the day. And this is where everything expands. Skill set, endurance travel, and controlled use of fire. Erectus took humanity global and lit the path forward. Now we reach a turning point. Homo heidelbergensis. Larger brain, approaching modern range, more advanced tools, Acheulean hand axes, wooden spears, organized hunting, big game. And this is where the story branches. One lineage adapts to cold Eurasia. becoming Neanderthals. Another continues evolving in Africa, leading to us. If evolution had a draft class, this was the one everyone was watching. Skill set: coordinated hunting and environmental adaptability. Heidelbergensis is the ancestor that split the human story. Built for a harder world, Homo neanderthalensis. Short, stocky bodies, perfect for conserving heat. Large brains, on average even bigger than ours. They made tools, wore tailored clothing, used fire, lived in complex social groups. They cared for the injured and buried their dead. So no, not cavemen, more like extremely tough cousins. And they didn't just disappear. They mixed with us, but not with everyone. Some of us still carry their DNA. Some of us don't. Skill set: cold weather adaptation and social intelligence. Neanderthalensis is a quiet inheritance, carried by some, absent in others. And then, the ones we almost missed. Denisovans. Denisovans? I like Denisovans. No full skeleton, no complete skull. Just fragments, teeth, bone, and DNA. But that DNA, it shows a wide range across Asia, and something remarkable: adaptations to extreme environments. High altitudes, low oxygen, places most humans struggle to survive. And this is where the story blends. They met Homo sapiens and left behind genetic advantages, which means some of us are still carrying their survival kit. Skill set: genetic adaptation to extreme environments. Denisovans are invisible, but still inside us. And then there's us, Homo sapiens. Physically, let's be honest, not exactly intimidating. No claws, no fangs. We get winded jogging upstairs. But the brain: highly developed frontal cortex, language, symbolism, abstract thought. We don't just adapt, we strategize. We plan years ahead, while forgetting why we walked into the kitchen. We cooperate in massive groups, millions of strangers, all following shared ideas. We build cities, write laws, launch satellites. Peak evolution. Skill set: collective intelligence, language, and long-term planning. Sapiens is a species that turned thought into power and never quite learned when to stop. Every now and then, the story breaks. You get a player that doesn't line up. Homo naledi. Small brain, primitive body, nothing about them suggests complexity. And yet, they keep showing up, deep in caves, not scattered, not dragged, placed. No tools to explain it, no clear reason, just a pattern. And patterns mean something. So maybe intelligence isn't just what you can build. Maybe it's what you choose to do, even when no one's watching. Skill set: behavior that suggests intention beyond physical limits. Naledi is the outlier that doesn't fit the model and forces us to rethink it. And finally, the underdog, Homo floresiensis. About 3.5 feet tall, island environment, limited resources, isolated population. Classic case of island dwarfism. Smaller body, smaller brain, but still making tools, still hunting, still surviving. Because evolution doesn't care about size, it cares about fit. Skill set. Extreme adaptation to isolated environments. Floresiensis proved survival isn't about dominance, it's about efficiency. Different players, different skill sets, but none of them were trying to become us. They were solving the same problem: how to survive one day at a time. No grand plan, no finish line, just small advantages stacked over time. And somehow, those small advantages became language, became culture, became cities and stories and everything we call human. But here's the part worth remembering. We didn't replace them. We're built from them. Every step forward carries something ancient with it. So when you look at us, this isn't the final version. This is just the current one. Still adapting, still changing, still in the game. Now, before we go drawing too many straight lines in the sand, it is imperative that we keep something in mind. First of all, there's actually way more players, and as more evidence is uncovered, timelines shift. Homo sapiens could have actually been here longer than 300,000 years. There's new digs, new tech, new ways of interpreting old bones. But here's what does not change. We're not throwing fossils in the trash. We're not saying, oops, guess Lucy doesn't count. We're saying, Lucy had cousins. Maybe a few, maybe a lot. As new fossils appear, as genetics reveal connections, our human family tree gets messier. You've probably heard of mitochondrial Eve. Sounds dramatic, right? Like she woke up one day, looked around and said, "Yep, it's just me. I guess I'll start humanity." That's not what happened. Mitochondrial Eve was a real woman. She lived in Africa around 200,000 years ago. But she wasn't alone. There were thousands of other humans alive at the same time, living their lives, raising families. So why do we keep talking about her? What makes her special? All right, let's slow this down for a second because mitochondrial Eve sounds way more mysterious than it actually is. Inside your cells, there's a tiny piece of DNA called mitochondrial DNA. You got yours from your mother got hers from her mother, your grandmother got hers from her mother, and backward through thousands of generations. It's basically the longest running group chat in human history, and only moms are allowed to post. Now here's the important part. Both sons and daughters inherit mitochondrial DNA, but only daughters pass it forward to the next generation. So imagine a woman living 150,000 years ago. If she has daughters, and those daughters have daughters, that mitochondrial line keeps moving forward through time. But if somewhere down the line, one of those daughters only has sons, that mitochondrial line stops. Now here's the super important part. Her family did not disappear. Her sons may have had children of their own, and those children may have had huge families. Millions of people alive today could still descend from her, but her grandchildren inherited their mitochondrial DNA from their mothers instead. So even though her family continued, her specific mitochondrial thread did not. That's the key. And this happened over and over and over again for tens of thousands of years. Some maternal lines kept going, others gradually stopped by random chance. So if you rewind all surviving mitochondrial lines backward through time, eventually they all meet at one woman. Scientists call her mitochondrial Eve. She's simply the most recent woman whose mitochondrial line never broke. That's it. And honestly, That's beautiful enough on its own, because underneath every country, every race, every religion, every language, every border ever drawn, there is still one ancient maternal thread quietly connecting all of us. But that was the past, and this is the present. We were not the only humans on Earth. Homo erectus built fires, Neanderthals hunted mammoths, Denisovans thrived. So, why do we not see any of these genus cousins anymore? How come their lights went out, while ours didn't? Why isn't Homo neanderthalensis still alive, working a 9-to-5 for his grumpy Floresiensis boss, fighting traffic and coming home to his Homo Denisovan wife, named Denise? Neanderthal is Ned. Why is Denise not creating a savory dish that she learnt from her favorite Homo sapiens TV chef? Because every branch of humanity wanted the same piece of Earth.